Happy solstice to everybody. It's been a nice, long day. Most of mine was spent in and out of the rain, trying to get stuff done. There were pockets of sunshine. And now there's this nice little cozy fire. And you guys and gals, divine soul beings, here to help me melt the evening away. There was an adage once I heard, or whatever the word for that phrasing would be. I've read it before too. Chop wood, draw water, reach enlightenment. Chop wood, draw water. Put an asterisk next to that. I'm going to come back to it in a sec. Another one I remember was be the change you want to see in the world. So one of the things I didn't like as a kid was when people would throw down, I don't know if euphemism is the right word, but they'd throw down a little cliche phrase that meant something to somebody at some point and meant enough to enough people that it became valued. But somebody was throwing it around as a cliche, not really understanding what it meant. It's times like this when I noodle by poking around at the coals and talking to the trees and to the elements of the fire, earth, air, and water, if you please, and spirit. Great spirit at that. Call forth the planet Mother Gaia, Tiamat, by whatever name you know her as. She'll be there. She'll be ready to talk. She's been hoping you would inquire along your path. So I'm guessing by now anybody who's watching this has figured out you're a divine soul being. You're sovereign. Hopefully you know your sovereignty, but you're a divine soul being. That means you're God, basically. So welcome to the club. Don't get too big of a spiritual ego about it. If you do, no worries. We'll all laugh with you and then watch you shrink back as you realize how big your spiritual ego got. And then we'll continue on, because who's God to be offended by another God who just forgot they were God of the all, with everyone else as being God of the all. And the small self becomes the big self, but forgets that everybody else has got a big self too. So it's one of those spiritual ego checks. It's kind of fun. Anyway, the point being, ascending masters. We think of Jesus, Krishna, Buddha as ascended masters, meaning they already did it. They ascended. They moved on. I'm not saying this to be like, oh, pity us for sticking around, or boo-hoo, they left. I'm just saying they ascended. They did it. They graduated and comprehended their power, the force of the elements. So we are becoming ascending masters, meaning we are in the process of ascending to the point where we ascend. Then once we reach that plateau, we're here. We get it. We're God. Okay, now what? Now we begin learning the process of remembering how to be divine. We don't go from human to God. First, we have to know we're God. We have to comprehend that. We have to digest that. We have to stretch our mind as far around that as we can until it pops, and then do it again and again and again until the ego comprehends it doesn't exist, but it's needed to be that illusionary bubble around in order to allow for the illusion of individualization so that we can continue the gameplay. So anyway, we go from now knowing, okay, we get it, we're God, we're divine, we're the power that calls forth the elements, and I'm not going to say makes them bend to our will, but that's what humanity's been doing, is bending the elements of nature for a while. And I'm not saying that in a bad way. I'm saying that's a part of becoming the divinity. We go from animalistic nature to a more humanistic nature, to a more divine humanistic nature, to a more divine nature, to reawakening the full divinity. So our higher self is here connecting to us to help us. It's been waiting for this point when you comprehend that you've graduated the course of humanity to realize you're now in the group of divine. And you're here. You're free. You're sovereign. And you know love is what got you to this point. Because everything is an echo of each of us. So you can't reach this point of divinity without first climbing the ladder to get to that point of being able to echo that and hold that vibration. Hold that vibration enough to gain your own sovereignty, to gain your own footing, to anchor in your own tree after having blossomed the root or the ball, the acorn. The child who's just discovering that they are a divine child of God, and they can have any power that they put their mind to figuring out and comprehending and dreaming. That's the little acorn growing as a sapling for the first time. You've been growing for a while, you just don't remember, you just don't know it. So all of us here holding space for one another are helping each other remember that we are this divine essence, this nature of us. But what does it mean? You know, I try not to throw a euphemism or a cliche around if I don't understand its nature. So for me, chop wood is physical labor. Taking the axe. It's hard to do this with the phone. And now we're going to do it in the dark. But having done this before, I've chopped wood enough that my body knows how to do it, whether my mind is here or not. That way, if my mind is currently elsewhere in another dimension, I can call forth my body and command it. Chop the wood, please. Because I need you to. And the body goes, okay, and it does it. That's mastery of the body. It's mastery of the mind to get the body to that point. Mastery of the soul does the same for both. At some point we master all of it, each of it. We master the mind, we master the body, we master the spirit, and then we get to graduate and come to understand our soul beingness. This is the part of us that's eternal, that continues on, that's beyond time. It's not that we stop time. Time continues to cycle. Ebb and flow, flux, grow, burn, die, rebirth, all of that. That's within the cycles of time. The divine consciousness is greater than that, because it's the container that holds all of it and beyond. I have to include the beyond because each of us connected here at this focal point at the center of this vortex, call it Earth, call it the inner conscious divine black hole of God, whatever essence it is that all beings can connect to. It's beyond emotions. It's beyond words. It's not beyond experience, though. And the master, the one who knows how to hold space for self in order to heal and to grow and to unify oneself with one's higher self, or at least begin the process, that one learns how to hold space. At that point, we become aware of what the energy is doing within the field of the space we are holding. The moment we stop holding that space, the reality breaks down, thus disempowering us. So the only way to continue empowering ourselves as the anchors, as holding space for others in this awareness that unconditional love is real and is the actual power that lays behind everything. We hold that unconditional love and allow others to somehow miraculously, energetically be free of any entanglements because they are, for some strange reason, in a vortex or a sphere or a space of divinity where their individualization becomes aware that the powers that be just got a little bit stronger. Whatever connection they have just got a little bit clearer, just got a little bit more potent, just got a little bit more intoxicating. For somebody who's channeling, this is alluring. They like this. That's why they love people being in the crowd, because the bigger the crowd, the more energy that flux in. But you never know who's there, so you never know what's being brought to the table. In a situation like YouTube, where a person's channel is their channel, they set the rules of their channel, what energies they're going to allow in or not. Well, if they're doing that and their focus is on love and divine nature or authenticness, then to hold space for that means that's what you have to honor. Empowering others is the act of being a god. It's quite ironic. The more power you gain by assisting others at this level of the game. We're not talking the old mechanisms of lie, cheat, and steal, power, thievery, and all that. Because of the divine nature, we're beyond time. We're beyond the life-death cycle. So there's not a competition for anything other than our inner drive, inspiration, motivation. So chop wood, draw water. You've dealt with two of the elements. You've also physically exerted yourself and spent energy. But the water will quench your thirst. It will also assist you in cooking the food. The wood will assist you in cooking the food. It gives you access to multiple directions. Both of them do. Directions of energy flow, meaning flowing in or out, giving or taking, whichever you need them to do. The wood will help build if you need to construct something, i.e., etc. Blah, blah, blah. You guys get all that. Once you reach enlightenment, guess what? You're God. Ha, that's it. Flip switch. That's the big secret. Then what? Then you go back and you chop wood and you draw water and you do the same things you did in life before enlightenment. But you will see a difference because the wood will almost chop itself and the water will almost draw itself. And it will call upon you when it's time to be drawn, and the wood will call upon you when it's time to be chopped. It's a weird, unique little thing because once you're enlightened and you realize your divinity, then you're connected to everything. And so everything is like, whoa, wait, somebody else knows that I'm God? And this is the magic of the trees talking. Because if you can convince that tree that you understand, it's there, and you understand its beingness, like you honor it in the same way that you would honor your own sibling, relative, child, friend sitting next to you on the bench next to the, then the tree as a being communicates to you because the tree is an individualization just as you are, but the tree is also connected to Gaia, who's connected to the solar system, who's connected to the whole multiverse, etc. It goes on out, spins forever. We can keep going in those entanglements of dimensions, but for tonight, I'm just trying to focus on this one thing as we extend out the solstice. And that one thing is to comprehend we are love, being the essence of divine begins at the nothingness and then takes shape. So you've known yourself in shape and form in meditation or in dreams, or at some point your unconscious will pull itself up from your subconscious through your conscious into your superconscious, which is your connection to the all of the collective here. And your thread still leads higher upward beyond that to your higher self. And yes, eventually it all goes back to source, but there is a greater you beyond just this planet, just this here and now. But that doesn't mean we're trying to get away from here and now. The whole point was we came from everywhere else to get to here. In this moment of now, forever now, eternal now, in order to assist everyone in reaching enlightenment, which is the inner knowing of divine nature. Why? Because then one day can last a year if you're far enough into the zone that it's worthy of the experience. It's the rules change at this level. We're here to help each other. Some of us have taken different courses than others, but enough of us have taken enough courses. If you're a jack of all trades in life, you've taken enough courses in life to comprehend the bigger pictures of things. That's why you never stuck with one, because you saw too many advantages to too many different directions. If you're somebody who honed in on one single thing and focused to the nth degree and mastered it, then you broke through and probably reached levels higher than most on that one thing. No matter what, we're all here. We all qualified to be here at this vibrational level based on something we personally have experienced that we bring to the table. It's in our DNA code, but you can't get to those secrets on your own. It takes another holding space, divine, just as you are, who's free and fully self-empowered to walk away and leave you hanging and dry, but holding space for you anyway. It takes them at their divine level to trigger you at your divine level, whatever inner secrets you have that are going to then come up. And when they do, they'll surprise you. And they'll likely, may or may not surprise the person who's holding space. Depends on what you're being triggered on. But what's weird is the person holding space, all they're doing is holding space of knowing you're divine, sovereign being, fully self-empowered, fully unconditional loved, in this moment, now and forever, through all eternity, through all space and time, through all entanglements. That's what they're holding for you. They're being the planet so that you can be a tree anchored in. They're not forcing anything. It's you of your own divine nature, your own seed, your own DNA code, your own seeking, your own soul desire to know that drives you. Whatever that is the essence that is triggering what needs to be triggered. And I'm at a different frequency now because my voice just dropped another octave without trying. So I'm really relaxed. That means I just, while I'm talking, reached a 420 moment. So with that, yeah, it's 20 minutes and 40 seconds, 21 minutes and 40. I can't tell. It's too dark at night. Anyway, so next time you find yourself chopping wood or drawing water, brushing teeth, taking a shower, doing dishes, taking out the trash, walking the dog, some menial chore task that makes you feel like a slave, look down at the elements and figure out just how many of those elements you are calling into duty to service your life, and how many of them called you into service for somebody else. Because if they're calling you, the elements, the earth, the air, the water, the fire, then you're hearing the world on a whole different octave than most. And this is the point of stepping up. This is the point of graduating the old way, the small way, and stepping up into a new game where this whole planet has the ability to unlock all the secrets of the universe if we work together to do it in a way that empowers others. Love you guys and gals. Mwah. Happy eternal. P.S. This experience was brought to you by inspiration of MJ and Gigi. And many, many others as well. But those two specifically this evening triggered me into sharing a video on a night that I wasn't planning on sharing. Because I was planning on because I hadn't planned on anything. Huh. Thanks, ladies. And thank you, Tree, for offering enough wood to see us through this evening. Solstice. Much love.